Hey everyone, today I want to talk about something that happened all the way back in 2016 but is a very important event in BTS's past that does not really get talked about much. The Breakwings project, which was just as brutal in practice as it sounds. So subscribe, and let's just get into it. BTS recount this time of their lives in their book Beyond the Story around pages 162 to 169 if you want to read along. But of course, BTS didn't go into very many details and specifics as this book discusses so many more events, but I did a little more digging to get you as much information as I could because I really believe this is an event we need to learn from and an event that made me respect BTS even more if that was even possible. So BTS were subjected to abusive language for being from an unknown company and criticized at public events for being idols pursuing hip-hop. But the first large-scale cyberbullying attack on BTS was because they had reportedly sold too many records. This was when their EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1, with the title track I Need You dropped. The album had already scaled much higher on the digital charts compared to their previous Dark and Wild, so reasonably the physical sales would also rise. But that meant instead of people understanding that the general public were recognizing and listening to BTS more, or the fact that I Need You appealed to the general public more than their past hip-hop releases, people began to spread fake news that fans were mass buying albums to get BTS to be higher on the charts. In Korea, the sales of records purchased directly by consumers is announced via the Hanteo chart, and Hanteo are notified by record stores. These are then tallied up to reflect sales, which means the numbers don't go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 as someone is buying the album. It generally counts a larger sum at the same time and then updates their tally. But instead of understanding how these charts work, haters thought it was suspicious that BTS's sales were rising so rapidly. Beyond the Story, and may I say quite fiercely, put these rumors to bed, revealing that if you sent a query to Hanteo chart to find out, they'd basically tell you anything you need to know. So, an army did in fact send a query to Hanteo chart, and the reply stated that there had indeed been no hoarding. An employee of Big Hit Entertainment was also on the phone and, quote, in tears, protesting that it wasn't true. Basically, if you don't know, BTS's hate or success obviously affects their staff a lot, but especially back then. BTS had a very small circle of staff who looked after them and became a family circle for them. There are clips of producers even crying when BTS got their win, so obviously after their own hard work and witnessing BTS's, they would be pissed off and frustrated at such rumors spread by people who just cannot seem to grip the concept of sales. But the haters just couldn't believe it. Some no-name nobodies from a company no one heard of just could not be competing with their big three giants on these huge charts. It just wasn't possible, and thus began attacks against BTS. From twisting their words to spreading rumors, just trying to paint them as villains. When the album Wings was released in 2016, this hate came together, forming the hashtag BreakWings. The public attacks on BTS had now reached the international stage. In an attempt to destroy BTS's reputation, fandoms of big three boy groups specifically got together, made group chats, and decided to spam BTS with hate on their music videos, posts, and then they began to spread rumors and create far-fetched plagiarism accusations. They also went on to threaten armies and BTS. Instead of focusing on and voting for their own favorite artists, they would pick one singular group and all the fandoms would get together and vote for that one group just so BTS wouldn't win. Basically, these fandoms actively forgot that they were fans of another group and became full-time BTS haters in an attempt to scare them and their fans into silence and suppress them. But we all know how that turned out. So while this was in no way the last time anything like this would happen to BTS, it was one of the first huge waves of hate against BTS, and armies were not nearly as big as they are today. It was incredibly tiring to deal with these constant attacks to try to stop BTS's success, especially when it took so long for the industry to even take them seriously in the first place. But then again, it also proves how much of a threat this supposed no-name company group was. Anyway, that was the Break Wings project. My intention with this video is not to start up fan wars, but only to bring to light the obstacles that BTS had to actively face when trying to get to where they are today. When said out loud, 2013 to 2016 doesn't sound like a long or agonizing rise to fame, but coupled with all of this happening behind the scenes and so much more, I cannot imagine how scary it would have been for BTS. 7 boys just trying to make music and a name for themselves. There are a lot of other behind-the-scene incidents, secrets, and stories that BTS have shared in their book, and even more that are locked away in ARMY archives. If you like this video, I'd love to share more of this Bangtan history with you all, so let me know if that's something that sounds appealing to you by liking this video and commenting below. That is all, and please remember that no matter what K-pop idol you dislike, you can have your reasons and criticism, but never forget that behind every idol is a human being that deserves basic respect and decency at the very least.